3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast, brought to you by SteelFist Fights. We got a card coming up April 26th, and I have on the phone with me Mr. Cole Shafer, part of the middleweight title bout against Tanner Hines. Now, full disclosure, before I bring him on, I need to let everyone know that I messed up today, and I called him a week in advance. We were supposed to do this next week, and I was so excited to talk to him that I called him a week ahead of time. And instead of putting me off like a true champ, he adjusted, he thought on his feet, and he said, "Give me 30 minutes," and now we're here in the interview. So, everybody, welcome Cole Shafer.
How you doing?
What's going on, man?
Oh, not too much.
Again, thank you for making time for me. That's embarrassing on my part, but it happens.
No sweat.
So one of the things I always do at the very first question I bring up is I talk about people and their nicknames, and I have not been able to find a nickname on you. Is that a real thing? Do you not have a nickname yet?
The guys at Jiu-Jitsu call me the Viking. I've got people that just call me Shafer, so I don't know. I think Pat, one of them, put an assassin or something like that, so it's just kind of been bouncing around.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so one of the things I try to do is if people don't have one, I try to give them one. I try to give them one that's going to stick. I like the Viking.
Yeah.
But I think we can do better.
I say when I had that one, I had a mohawk that I could braid down, and it was pretty solid.
Yeah. No, I could see it. It fit. There was a few that I was gonna go in that direction, but I kind of like to use like the letters in the name to kind of go along with it, because I always think that flows better. So let me give you three. And if you don't like them, you don't have to use them. If you do like them, you have to give me all the credit. All right.
Fair enough.
Okay. So the first one we go with is Cole the Carnivore Shafer.
All right.
You're not. I mean, you're a hunter.
I mean, I'm all about it.
You're a hunter. I'm assuming you eat. I'm assuming you eat lots of meat.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Maybe this one's a little throwback to your Iowa wrestling days. Corn-fed Cole Shafer.
All right.
And then this one is a little toss out to your Instagram, because you have two pictures of the same lion. So what about Cole Big Cat Shafer?
Big cat, huh? All right. Not bad.
You don't have to go with any of these. I can tell you're not.
If I had to pick one of the three, it'd probably be carnivore.
Okay.
Every time I think of corn-fed, I think of a husky fat guy.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think of Eli Manning, but that's an inside joke with me and my family. So
that's fair.
You can't. I mean, yeah. Anyway, so all right. I so far I'm 0 for 9 and all the nicknames I've tried to give out, but one of these days it's gonna stick. One of these days it's gonna stick.
One's gonna stick.
All right, man. Well, how's camp going? I called you in the middle of practice, so I know you're working hard. I can see the sweat coming off your face right now. How's camp coming along for you?
Camp's going good, practicing every day, getting running in, doing all my mitt work, doing my wrestling, doing the jiu-jitsu, hitting a little bit of everything, and making sure everything stays sharp, stays crispy,
Mm-hmm. And you're not here
Don't slack off.
You're not here in Utah right now. Where are you training out at?
I'm in Austin, Texas right now.
Okay.
So that might be what part of the sweat you see is, just living in Texas.
It's snowing right here in Utah right now, right?
Dude, I'm so upset I'm missing it. I bought the Epic Pass last year, and I missed all the snow this year, and I was like, yeah, that's about my luck.
I'll trade you. I'll come down there to the heat. You can have all the snow you want. I cannot take it, man. I was so mad when I woke up this morning. I almost canceled the interview, and then to find out we didn't have one. We weren't even supposed to have one. It wasn't meant to be, but we forced it. We make it happen, man. A few things about Texas. Can you tell everybody about Bluebell ice cream real quick?
To be honest with you,
don't tell me you haven't had it.
Fan of it.
What?
Yeah, it's ice cream, man. It's good, but it's. Now, if you want to talk about barbecue, barbecue down here is phenomenal.
Okay, let's talk a little barbecue, because I lived in Tennessee for a while, and Tennessee always claims to have way better barbecue than Texas. So tell me about Texas barbecue real quick.
I mean, There's a few joints down here. The brisket, I mean, you'd cut it with a fork, and it's still got moist in it. It's got the fat just right, so they slow cook it all, smoke it overnight. And it's, like I said, you just tear it apart with a fork, and you try and keep it together long enough to last from your fork to your mouth.
Okay, so tell this to people. One, there's a difference between barbecue and grilling. Because everybody out here invites me to go to a barbecue at their house, and then all they're doing is grilling meat.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating. Yeah. The other is you don't cook barbecue with the sauce on it. You cook it with the seasonings on it, and then you put the sauce on after.
That's right.
That's right. And do you use...
you slow cook.
That's
slow
right.
Cook, low temp, long hours.
And do you use regular white bread to wipe up your sauce, or are you using...
lick it up.
You lick it up? Okay. Well, because there's also a big discrepancy between cornbread, because cornbread out here is super sweet, and cornbread out south is not sweet at all, and it's meant because it's meant to get up the sauce, and the sauce is usually a sweet sauce. You don't want a sweet sauce and sweet cornbread. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're on the same page there.
Yep.
All right, you won me back a little bit. You hurt me with the bluebell comment. You hurt me deep with the bluebell comment, but you won me back with the barbecue.
All right.
So what's your camp? Where are you training out there? Who are you training with? Who are your coaches? What's going on out there?
So right now I'm working with Aaron and Christina Yang for kickboxing. I'm working at Gracie Baja for jiu-jitsu and wrestling. And that right now is pretty much summing it up. Mm-hmm. Go down to Houston a little bit to SBA, do a little boxing down there. Submission Boxing Academy with Justin Ledette. But yeah, mostly it's up here in Austin. Just kind of throwing the game plan together.
All right. And what else do you do out there besides your training? What else are you doing out in Texas?
So right now I'm personal training. Working a couple different gyms, just with individual clients. Working on their fitness, keeping them in shape, and helping motivate them to stay in the gym.
That's a tough job. I did that for a while, and I had to bounce off of that. I couldn't do it. I couldn't handle it. It was rough for me. I decided I could only work with athletes. So now when I do personal training, it's strictly with athletes, and which was unfortunate because a lot of people did want to work with me because I did have a big weight loss. I lost 100 pounds a while back, and so people wanted to work with me. But I'm not good at weight loss because when I did my weight loss, I was a psycho. I just was in the gym for 3 hours a day on doing cardio. And so when people were like, yeah, I want to lose weight like you. And I was like, all right, hit the gym for 3 hours a day. They're like, nah, I don't want to do that. And I was like, well, I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you. But since I grew up being an athlete, I tend to gravitate more towards the athletes. I was a terrible personal trainer because I couldn't actually teach people on the things that I did. So I just had to try to coach them on other people's plans, and it never really worked out.
I get a lot of people that hit me up. They're like, oh, I have a vacation coming up in 12 weeks, and you said you were losing 20 pounds for your fight. Like, how do I get on that weight loss plan?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's a different plan. I'm losing weight for one day.
Yeah.
Or the next day I'm 15, 20 pounds heavier.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't last.
Yeah, people...
No, it'll be perfect. How do I get that for my vacation body? It doesn't work that way.
You'll have it for one day, and then you'll get there, and you'll have some drinks, and it'll all be gone. That always, when I see people sitting in the sauna drinking with the water, it always I'm like, what are you doing in here? There's some
enjoy the heat.
Yeah, there are some benefits, cleaning out the toxins in your body. I get that, but when they're they think they're losing weight in there, and I'm like, you're literally just you're putting it all back into you while you're sweating it. People, yep. They make me laugh. That's why I had to stop, because I just. Sometimes I can't keep my mouth shut about things like that. So, well, that's good. I'm glad you're doing that. And everything's going good. And so the weight cut's going good. You did mention right when we started, before we were on camera, that the weight cut's going good. You started early and everything's running pretty smooth with that.
Oh yeah, that's things. I'd rather start early, get my body lean, start doing the right things early. That way it's not a last minute ditch trying to make it right at the weigh-ins.
Yeah.
killing myself for 24 hours.
Yeah, that's awful. And you said that was your wrestling background that gave that to you. Why don't we talk about that for a minute? You're a former Iowa State wrestler, but let's start from the beginning. How'd you get into wrestling, and how did you get to Iowa?
So I started wrestling 4th grade because my dad said I couldn't play football.
Okay.
Because he had too many injuries when he played football, so he wouldn't let me play football. I had a buddy in school that was wrestling and told me, I'll come to practice, it'll be fun. And my dad had no idea what wrestling was. He made fun of the wrestlers in high school. And so he was like, oh, he'll be okay. Like, there's not a lot of injuries with wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he'll be fine. And so got into wrestling there. Was wrestling freestyle and Greco. Basically wrestled year-round, starting from an early age. Had some really awesome coaches. Ivan Ivanov. He was down at TAC for our Greco program. I was with him for 8 years, doing a lot of Greco wrestling, and then worked with Mark Fuller out of Timpanogos High School, and then I had Steve Sanderson at Wasatch High School doing folk style, freestyle up in my junior high school years. So I had a pretty solid set of coaching staff. Did really well in high school. Only lost one match my senior year. Was a 2-time state champion, was a runner-up my sophomore year, placed my freshman year. And so I had a pretty good opportunity to go to college. Of course, Cole Sanderson was the coach at Iowa State at the time that I was being recruited. And so definitely had a footnote there with, being under his dad as a high school wrestler. And they were, interested in bringing in a couple new upper weight guys. And so I was lucky enough to get in with that program. And then unfortunately for me, he moved on to Penn State the next year, and I got Kevin Jackson at Iowa State and stayed there and worked it out and did the best I could there.
And Iowa, I'm not huge in the wrestling in the wrestling circle. I know a little bit about it, but isn't Iowa like the holy grail of wrestling schools? University
of Iowa is the Hawkeyes. They're monsters. Iowa State, they were up there for a long time.
Okay.
They took 16th this year under Coach Dressler. They're getting a rebuilding program now. Okay. Kevin Jackson, when he left, kind of left it in a bit of disarray. And so they're trying to rebuild it all now with the recruits that left, with his assistant coaches as well. So they're in a little bit of a hard way.
Okay.
When Cal left, he took a bunch of recruits with him as well. So kind of left Iowa State a little bit in a rough patch, but they're still top 20 of the nation. I mean,
yeah, no slouches.
Below that. Yeah,
no slouches.
I mean, they're still getting national qualifiers and All-Americans every year. They still have monsters coming out of there. So
when you get finished doing that, I mean, obviously everybody knows wrestlers, just how tough they are, the grind they go through. I mean, every wrestler that you see in the UFC is just an absolute beast. And you finish that, and then is it just a natural transition to go, well, now I'm going to go do MMA? I mean, how do you get to that point?
So actually...
And what does your dad think about it? He didn't want you playing football. What does he think about you doing MMA, too?
He was actually pretty cool with it. The big thing was, when I got out of college, I was over sports for a minute. I just wanted to get a job, get to work, start making money, paying things off. And actually, my buddy Shane Bonner was fighting for SteelFist. And I was cornering for him a couple of fights and watching the guys fight, and I was like, I kicked this guy's ass. Like, I can do this. Like, all right, come on. Like,
yeah,
I'm an athlete. I can do this. And so he was kind of joking around with me, and so we ended up signing me up for one, and that's kind of how it started. Off of that,
you just fell into it, huh?
Yeah, because I started high school coaching wrestling high schoolers at Wasatch High for 2 years, working with their upper weights to try and fill the void of, competing and everything else like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite the same. Working with the high school kids is, having somebody try to beat the crap out of you every day. And,
yeah. I was going to ask you, like with the youth, with the kids coming up in wrestling these days, do you think that they should be learning more of a MMA based wrestling, or they should just be learning the freestyle traditional wrestling or Greco or any of those styles, or do you think it's smarter for them to learn a more MMA based wrestling because there's more and more opportunities for them in MMA than there is in wrestling?
I mean, as a purist for the sport, I want them to learn wrestling for wrestling. Just for the fact of, if you can wrestle, you can learn how to use your hips, you can learn to control your body, your emotions, with everything going completely wrong in a situation, being torqued the wrong way, and having things go the wrong way. To be able to calm down, get your mind right, power through a position, finesse through a position, learn how to wrestle through things, and keep their mind right through a position.
Yeah,
I think that helps them a lot more in MMA and other sports as well. I mean, the biggest thing with me was with boxing, when somebody would hit me in the head, I just wanted to hit him back harder.
Yeah, yep.
And so, like, in my head, I had to be like, no, that's not right. You know better.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things where if you can teach kids the basics of wrestling, MMA will take care of itself. That's why your high-level wrestlers in MMA do very basic wrestling.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of big suplexes. You don't see any big throws. A lot of it is straight double legs, single legs, pulling them back off the fence. You never see any of these big, fancy flare doubles and, big soufs or sag body locks or things like that in MMA. But at the same time, they have the option to do a lot of these things if things play out right.
Yeah.
But
what was the move called when Robbie Lawler dumped Ben Askren on top of his head? What was that? Was that
I want to say that one was a flare double.
Okay. Whatever that was, I would never want to be a part of that.
I've only seen some of that, so I haven't seen the whole thing. So.
Oh, it was pretty intense. One more question about that, about the transition from wrestling to MMA. When my little brother was wrestling, his coach would always teach him, if you're on your back, you're drowning. So if you're drowning, you're gonna do everything you can to get up. But when you transition that into jiu-jitsu, you need to learn to be comfortable on your back. You need to learn to to be able to be on your back and think, and not just think you're drowning and get out. So was there a transition there for you, or do you think of it differently?
Oh, it's still hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you ingrain that in your head for 20 years.
Yeah.
You're not going to your back. Like, you don't even sleep on your back. Like, to change that over to be like, oh no, this is a good place. Just relax here.
Yeah.
Good space. It's like, no, this is so wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, that actually caught me in my fight with, I can't think of his name. Anyway, when I lost the 185 title match.
Zach Cavender?
No, he broke my nose, and then I spiked him a few times.
That was a bloody match.
Yeah. I'd like to get a hold of that one, though. But, like I said, he broke my nose. If he wouldn't have done that one, would have been a different fight, but it is what it is. He busted my nose, and I bled out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was the one after that. Anyway, got shot a big heavy shot, drove all the way through, landed on my back, immediately bridged, rolled through, got caught in an arm bar, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that was in my head. I rolled to my back, and it was danger, and I needed to get off. And if I would have just laid there, I probably could have been fine. But
you're a wrestler. You're a wrestler at heart.
That's the thing is, everybody has a game plan until they get hit in the head, and then they go back to what they know and they love.
Yep. And
hardwired in.
But for most times, wrestlers, that's a good hardwire to have. That's a good place to go. But I do actually have a bone to pick with you on this very topic. I have a bone to pick with you.
Right.
When you fought Eric Munoz, you didn't shoot on him at all. And when we walked into camp, he tells me this guy is an Iowa State wrestler. He trained with the Sandersons. He is a beast. Blah 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 blah. You have to shoot on me, shoot on me, shoot on me, shoot on me. So for an entire camp, I came out of practice every day, dead, exhausted, beat up, tired. For you to not shoot one time. You could have called me and said, listen, bro, I'm going to stand with him and bang the whole time. You don't have to do that. I put in so much work for that camp, so much work for that fight, to stand and watch you guys box the whole time. What's up with that?
I threw a couple leg kicks in there too.
Yeah, you did. No, it was a fun fight to watch. Eric's always, win, lose or draw. He's a good sport about everything, and you guys put on a show for 5 rounds, was it? And then you finally caught him with the standing choke, or was it third round?
We were in a title fight. It was just a 3-round fight.
Okay, yeah.
Round, I put him in the
standing guillotine. Standing guillotine. Yeah, and we were just like, I'm just like, when's he gonna shoot? I've been working this with Eric. I want to see how Eric's gonna do on this shot, and you never did. You just stood and banged the whole time. So I was like, come on, man. I'm tired now, but it made me a better wrestler. So I guess I can appreciate you for even trying to go in and just pretend that I was you for an entire camp. It made me a better wrestler. So I can thank you for that.
There you go. The big thing with that one was that's all everybody said I was a wrestler.
Uh-huh.
And I knew Eric knew how to box, and in my own head, to prove it to myself that I could stand up with somebody, and especially with Eric, who's a veteran of the cage. I mean, guy's been in there for a long time. He's been killing it. He's had titles, he's had title defenses, he's had titles for multiple promotions at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to go out and, be able to stay up, bang with him, stay on our feet, that was more for my own, to get my head right.
Yeah.
That I can stand with people. I don't have to rely on takedowns. And I knew you guys were going to be working a lot of shot defense.
Yeah, it was a lot. That's all I did, man. I would throw 2 shots and then I'd throw 2 punches and then shoot. 2 punches, shoot for an entire camp. So, but you guys, I mean, honestly, I felt like that fight, you saying you knew you were going up against Eric, and so you put in that time preparation for him. I have to say, you brought out the best in him in that fight, because he was more prepared for that fight than I've ever seen him. He was, so that, I remember thanking you after the fight, hey, thank you for taking this fight, because you brought out the best in Eric I've ever seen, and you lit that fire under his ass, and he's had it going. He's still going. He's fighting on this same card. He's in the co-main event, and I'm excited to see him always. But yeah, that was a fun fight to watch. And one thing I noticed in that fight, and I thought, well, maybe it was just this fight, but now I've been seeing some other footage of you. You're always smiling in your fights. You always got a little smile on your face. Do you really love this that much? Do you really love fighting that much, or is it just?
I love it.
Is it like a nervous tick or what? You just are always smiling.
I mean, you want sport in its purest form, put 2 guys in a cage and let them beat the hell out of each other.
That's true.
That's what it's about. You want to go in there, say that you're the toughest, whatever. A football team can hide behind one guy and blame a quarterback for a loss.
Yeah.
A hockey team can blame a goalie for not making a stop. Any team sport, you can blame someone else.
Yeah.
When you walk into that cage, there's no one I can blame anything on. People can sit there and say, oh, well, my coaching staff didn't do this, or, they didn't prepare me for this. That's bullshit. You walk in there, it's you versus someone else, whoever put in the work, whoever, took the time to watch the film, studied the opponent, build off that, improved off what you did the last fight so that you don't get caught with the same things. That's the whole thing, is to build and see how much you can improve, how much you can better yourself, and how much your opponent got better, and to see who comes out on top. I mean, that's just fun to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is
it shows, man.
Blocked, whatever.
It shows. You got a smile on your face. Even when you get hit, you get a big smile on your face. It's fun to watch. You're one of those fan favorites, because everyone can tell that you love what you're doing in there. Now, on that, let's see if you're still. Let's see that smile on your face. April 26th. Against 3-1 Tanner Hines for the middleweight belt. How do you like this fight?
I like it. I think it's going to be a fun fight. I think the fans are going to get a good show. You know, I don't think either of us are going to, you know, try to take a step backwards. I think it's just going to be a knockout, drag-out brawl, and where it lands, it lands. But I think it's going to be a fun fight, and I think it's one you don't want to miss.
That's true. I mean, this is one I'm picking as one of my this is one I'm picking as one of my must sees. The one that I'm going to be telling people. I mean, this is why I chose you guys as one of my interviews, was because this is for me one of the most exciting fights. In a fighter like Tanner, where do you see his strengths?
I mean, you got to give it to him. The kid's got solid hands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's knocked out 3 or 4. I think he's 4-1 now. He's knocked them all out. So, I mean, kid's got solid hands, and he knows how to lay them out. So, you know, he's definitely dangerous on his feet, and he moves well. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, watch out for him in any position.
Yep. So obviously you see yourself winning this fight. I'm assuming you go through the mental visualization quite a bit, of, you know, how you see yourself winning this fight. And most people lie to me when I ask them this question, because they say, oh, I see myself winning anywhere. And then after the fight, they're like, oh, after they win, they're like, oh no, that's exactly how I saw myself winning it. So you don't have to tell me the truth. But if you see yourself winning this fight a certain way, you can tell me. If not, you can just say you see yourself winning in any way.
I mean, the problem with that is you assume I actually have a game plan.
Okay. That was actually my next question.
Honestly, I go out there and I'm just having a good time. If I see something open up, I'm going to try and take it. If I see something, you know, exposed that I think I can capitalize on, I'm going to take it.
Okay.
And like I said, the minute you get hit, your game plan goes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all fun to sit down and pretend like you're going to do X, Y, Z, and, you know, when he does this, you're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a fight. Anything can happen. You can get caught from anywhere. Something that you've drilled 1,000 times is going to slip up and catch you, or, you know, there's just so many variables that can pop in from anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
That anybody that tells you, I'm going to go out and I'm going to clock him with a 1-2 and it's going to be done. Yeah, that's, you know, best case scenario, and, you know, good luck with it. I hope it works, but odds are it's not gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're practicing with a dummy that's just gonna stand there and let you hit him.
Correct. Yeah.
So.
No, you're right. And my next question was gonna be, do you even have a game plan? So I'm glad you answered that question before I got to it. I just was watching an interview with Kamaru Usman, who's, you know, a well-known wrestler, and he said his goal going into every match was to tech fall every single opponent he ever went against, because he said that's the most demoralizing way to lose. And at that point, they have no excuse. They can't say you caught me with something. You can't say, you know, you hit me with something I've never seen before, and that was his goal going into and then that's, you know, translated into his goals into the MMA, and what he did against Woodley was just to win every single round. Is that just a wrestling mentality? Do you still have that same mentality to just take away every doubt and never try to just catch somebody, but outwork them and just take away every excuse they could have?
That's the best thing you can do in a fight, is just demoralize someone, that no matter what they're doing, you're in their face, you're pushing the pace, you're not looking to squeak out a round or two, you're not looking to catch them at the end. You're putting in the work and you're planning to go the distance whether you want to or not. You're ready to, and you're going to push them every single round to the breaking limit, to where they don't want to get off the chair.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love that mentality. I love it. It's you know, it's, when you say demoralizing, it is, you know, of course, you know, of course there's always, I feel with most fighters, there's always a respect you have for the other guy that you're in there, but you want them to know that you're better than them. Do you want them to not to be afraid to ever come in there again with you again, to, you know, to come up at the next round, to come, you know, to you want to take that away from them. So I love that mentality. The last thing before I get to the trash talk, I wanted to ask you, you know, I've just started working with SteelFist, and I love these guys. I love Kevin and Pat and the whole team, all that they're putting together. What's it like for you fighting on a SteelFist card, maybe versus other cards, or just your interaction, your experience here with SteelFist?
Oh, I've had a great interaction with them. You know, Pat and Kevin, they've always treated me with respect, and they're really good about, if you have questions, they get back to you with things. They're really good about helping you get ready for fights, as far as ticket sales, things like that, to get the most that you can out of each fight. As a, fighter, as an amateur, we are off ticket sales because that's what we're selling. Mm-hmm. We're not getting paid to fight. We're getting paid to sell tickets. And so that's the big thing, is they're really good about, opening it up so that you do make a little bit of money off this fight. So it's not just you going in there getting the hell beat out of you for,
for free.
For up to 15 minutes or, 25 minutes or whatever. I think 3 5-minute rounds, so 15 minutes, You're not just going in there for the hell of it, just getting the hell beat out of you. You get a little bit of something out of it to cover your medical bills and things like that at the end.
Yeah.
They're really good about, helping you find people that want to fight, because that's a lot of promotions. You look at it and they'll have fight cards, and the fighters will change 3 or 4 times before the fight actually happens. Mm-hmm. Or people fall off of cards and they just let the whole card fall apart. SteelFist isn't about that. They're going to make a card happen. They're going to put the show on. They're going to get as many good fighters as they can, and they don't take a lot of bullshit from the fighters. A lot of fighters are prima donnas that they want everybody to look at me, I'm a peacock, and they don't really tolerate that,
Right.
You're going to get in, you're going to get in the cage, you're going to put on a show for them, they'll put you on as many shows as you can get on. Mm-hmm. But if you, are late to weigh in, stuff like that, don't show up on time to things, don't get back to them about tickets, they're not going to put up with your crap, because they actually have people in line that want to get in on the cards and want to be a part of their show. And, they're getting bigger. Every fight,
Yeah.
They're getting more and more people coming in. They're doing podcasts. They're doing the live feeds now. I mean, it's becoming a bigger and bigger show every time.
Yep.
Every time I get on a card.
That's the goal. That's the goal, is to get packed houses each and every month, and start rival. What's the word I'm trying to look for? What's the word? Rival the big shows.
Yeah.
The top ones. I mean, we're number one in Utah. We want to be number one West Coast, and then start growing from there. So, all right, my man. So I'm gonna get you to the trash talking. All right. So I kind of explained to you how this whole thing goes.
A couple sponsors, real quick.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I'm gonna pull this up. Go ahead and give a shout out to sponsors.
Perfect. So Gogan's Garage in Heber City, Straightway Bar in Vegas, Adapt Strength and Conditioning in Austin, Texas. Mountain Crane, anywhere you need them. Pro Lawn, Juan Morales. Hardway 8 in Henderson, Nevada. Julia Edwards Realty. Gray Ridge Flooring with Ryan Bonner. They're all linked on my Facebook, things like that, with all their promotions, numbers, ways to get a hold of them. They're, making this fight camp possible for me, to get up to Utah, everything like that. They've pretty much made it so that I could actually put in time to get the camp going the way I need it to go, and they've really stepped it up to help me get this going. So I appreciate all that they've done for me.
That's awesome. Sponsorships are so important, and that's one of the reasons I try to do this. Is I want more recognition to the fighters, so that they can get the sponsors that they deserve, so they can put in the training that they need in order to get ready to get to the next level. So I'm glad you got good sponsors behind you. So good job, all of you that are sponsoring Cole. Now we're gonna get on to the trash talk. Let me give them the words.
Kano Construction too.
Oh, what was that?
Kano Construction.
Kano Construction. Awesome. 3, 2, 1.
On April 26th, I'm going to beat Tanner Hines because he's a groin-riding cork farmer.
All right. Thank you very much, Cole. Everybody. Yep. Cole Shafer. All right. There you have it, everyone. Cole Shafer coming out from Austin, Texas to get that middleweight belt versus Tanner Hines. Let's see who gets it. Tomorrow, I'm actually interviewing Tanner. So, again, it's going to be another good interview. I'm excited for this one. Now, it's time for you all to follow us on Facebook at SteelFist Fights. Facebook, SteelFist Fight Night, or on Instagram at SteelFist Fights. Follow this podcast, like and subscribe on YouTube or iTunes under Undefeated by Choice. Go get your tickets now for the April 26th card at SteelFistFight.com. Everybody be good to yourself. Be good to each other. I love you.
Let's begin now.